Last week, we looked at a tree outside and we drew a picture of the tree and its branches, and we also added some forest friends to our picture. This week, we are going to add the sky using watercolor paints, and we are also going to be adding leaves. Now it's time to paint the sky in my picture, so I'm going to take a bowl of water and I'm going to use the paintbrush that came in the watercolor paints. I'm going to wet my brush and I'm going to swirl my brush inside of my paints so that I can activate the paint. That's how watercolors work. They need water to work. So now that I've swirled my brush, I'm going to go ahead and start painting on my paper. And as I paint, you're going to notice that the crayon, the wax in the crayons is going to resist the paint in some places, and you can see it here, especially with the clouds. The paint doesn't cover the clouds. The paint is going to go into all those little areas where the crayon is not on top of the paper. And I'm going to work kind of quickly here. I'm not being too detailed with my paint strokes. I'm just kind of moving along to cover the whole paper with blue. I'm using mostly blue, but you could add in a little bit of green if you want to make your paint look a little bit turquoise. You can also add in a little bit of purple if you want your sky to look a little bit indigo. But I'm just going over the whole paper, over everything that I drew with this blue paint. Let your paper dry completely when you are done painting the whole paper with the blue paint. Now that my paper has dried completely, I'm going to take my brush again and I'm going to swirl my brush into the different colors to activate the colors. So I just activated my red. I'm going to clean my brush and then I'm going to activate my yellow paint. And I'm going to clean my brush again and I'm going to activate my orange paint. So I'm going for colors that are going to be kind of like leafy colors. So here I am swirling my brush inside the green paint to get that paint activated, and then I'll probably go into the brown paint, and I'm thinking of all the colors of leaves during autumn as I activate my paint colors. So now that my paints have water in them, I am going to be using my paints as finger paint. So I'm going to start first with green, and I'm choosing my pointy finger to put on a few green leaves, because at the beginning of fall we see some green leaves on the tree mostly. I'm going to change fingers and I'm going to use my middle finger to go in with red. A lot of times leaves will look kind of like a red color on those trees. So I'm using a different finger. I don't want to put my green finger into the red because that'll change the red to a different color. Now I'm going to go in with my ring finger into the orange, and I'm going to spot some orange leaves on my tree as well. And I'm putting these among those bare branches that we drew the last time. And then finally I'm going to go into the yellow paint with my pinky finger and add some yellow leaves to my picture. So I've added the leaves to my tree, but we know that leaves fall off of trees when the autumn comes. So I'm going to go ahead and do some that are kind of in the air, and then maybe add some to the ground where my animals are. My tree picture is done. I have a beautiful autumn scene. What will yours look like?